The devil's in the details, true black magic cases. They whispered his name and the candles went out. A chill crawled through the room and the villagers held their breath. This was not myth, not superstition told for children. This was lore, history, reality. From the cobbled streets of medieval Europe to the candlelit courtrooms of the 18th century, black magic was prosecuted as seriously as murder. Fear, power, and the unknown intertwined, and the consequences were deadly. In the early Middle Ages, accusations of witchcraft were rare, but they were devastating. A peasant woman accused of cursing her neighbor's cows could be shunned or burned. The church, ever vigilant against the devil's work, compiled chronicles of unnatural events, strange deaths, and inexplicable illness. Rumors became evidence, and imagination became law. By the 15th century, the fear of diabolical influence reached a fever pitch. Witches were no longer solitary women in the woods. They were agents of Satan, enemies of God, and a threat to social order. Consider the case of the Pendle witches in Lancashire, 1612. 12 men and women accused of murder through sorcery, their trials meticulously recorded. They confessed under torture, names whispered into the pages of court documents. Each word a thread in a web of terror. What strikes us today is not the alleged magic, but the human stories behind it, the rivalries, the debts, the envy, all spun into a narrative of the supernatural. Fear was a currency, and power was its exchange. Across Europe, from Germany to Switzerland, trials multiplied. The witch hunts of the 16th and 17th centuries became a continent-wide obsession. Heinrich Kramer, writing the infamous Malleus Maleficarum, codified the prosecution of witches, stoking paranoia with chilling authority. But the victims were often ordinary, widows, midwives, herbalists, people who knew the world intimately, and whose knowledge threatened the fragile certainties of their neighbors. In the shadows of history, magic was never just about spells. It was about survival, about control, about understanding a world that seemed governed by invisible forces. In 17th century New England, the Salem witch trials echoed the same anxieties. Children's games became confessions, dreams became indictments, and the line between reality and fear blurred. The human mind, confronted by the inexplicable, seeks explanation, and in those moments the devil's presence is always near. Even in Europe, cases like that of Anna Goldie in Switzerland, 1782, one of the last women executed for witchcraft, reveal a society grappling with morality, law, and the limits of knowledge. The accusations were absurd to modern eyes, yet at the time they were the culmination of law, religion, and social pressure. The mechanisms of accusation often reveal a tragic, almost poetic truth about humanity. Jealousy, fear of change, economic hardship, all became imprinted onto bodies and souls labeled evil. Magic was the lens through which society projected its anxieties, its unknowns, and its darkest impulses. In every candlelit interrogation, in every public execution, the human cost was enormous, yet the fascination endures. The stories of black magic also illuminate a strange intersection between science and superstition. Herbal remedies, early chemistry, and ritualistic practices existed side by side and were often misunderstood. A tincture for illness could be labeled a curse. An unusual animal behavior could be cited as proof of enchantment. Unnatural events were woven into tapestries of the supernatural. In this way, black magic was not just belief, it was a mirror of human understanding, or its absence, in a pre-scientific age. What lessons remain? Perhaps that fear, unexamined and amplified, becomes tyranny. Perhaps that knowledge, or the lack of it, shapes morality and justice. And perhaps that every human society confronted with mystery seeks a story, a narrative that explains suffering, misfortune, and chance. In the shadows of history we see ourselves, the Pendle witches, Anna Goldie, the countless unnamed, their names a testament to the human need for control and the danger when fear dictates law. The darkness they faced and sometimes wielded was not merely diabolical, it was profoundly human. We fear what we do not understand, And in that fear, the devil's detail is always present, hiding in plain sight. So as you consider the arcane, the hidden, the sinister threads of our past, remember that the real magic was human nature itself. Curiosity, envy, desperation, and courage, all entwined in the pages of history. The devil, it seems, was not always a distant spirit, but the shadows of our own choices. Dare you enter the candlelit corridors of time, listen to the whispers of justice, fear, and superstition, and recognize yourself within them. History is not merely past, it is a mirror. And in its reflection we find caution, wonder, and the profound weight of human responsibility. If the shadows have captured your imagination, explore further. Read the chronicles, the trials, the testimonies. Immerse yourself in the eerie, illuminating world where magic was law and the law was human. Subscribe, engage, and dare to discover the hidden details that history never fully reveals, for the devil is always in the details.